All right, so something to remember in Ushiro Ryote Dori, he has to pass through Kosadori. Okay? So when he comes down here and stops, go back one step, we are in Kosadori. Okay? And then he cuts down and he goes around. So any Koshi Nage you can do from Kosadori, you can do from the beginning of Ushiro Ryote Dori. Okay? It's very much like, for example, he comes for Kata Dori. See? Until he grabs, it's ski. Okay? So for example, he grabs. You probably have Kotagaeshi from Kata Dori. This is a dumb technique. Okay? It's better to just treat it as ski. Boom. You'll have it. So likewise, you just have to reconcile this part here. Okay, so how do you do that? I'm going to fade and then come up and inside his circle. Take, boom, and inside his circle. If he cuts it down, you gotta have to fade more because you're gonna get resistance here. So you fade, boom, then it comes back up. Fade, boom, back in. Okay, let's try. All right, the good thing about this technique is that you're going to have to learn, and our camera can walk wherever they need to go. Okay? You are going to have to learn to not do the beginner mistake where your hips are parallel to theirs. Your hips have to turn all the way around, okay? And if you look up, when he makes contact with that pressure, so that this hip is higher than the other hip, when I roll, when he hits me, I can use the adhesion to get him up when I bring my hips. Sorry, I went the other way. Here, you can grab. Okay, so I'm looking up, and then as I roll, I bring him around me. Okay? So a lot of times, beginners will go parallel, and they'll try to get him on. I'm parallel to him. Or, they are just across and hoping that he gets on. As opposed to make contact here, and as he rolls, bring your hips around, he rolls onto it, okay? So as I do this technique, you can see that my hip is up, not down. And stay there. Hi. So I go one, and I make contact there, not here. And then as I move, he just easy peasy. Okay? I'll do it again. Boom. Contact here. And then I roll my hips. He'll go up. Okay? Let's try that teacher. So I think that's the main thing is like make sure you're perpendicular to the koshis. Don't be parallel to the koshi. You were parallel to the koshi in the problem that you had. And then wherever you can't always, and you don't always need to, is make contact, make an adhesion, and then as you turn your hips, that's what brings him up. Okay, not the fact that he's taller than you, or you're lower than him, or there's momentum going over your hip. Okay. Another thing is, I tend to have my feet underneath my hips. I tend to be in Shizentai in training, because in application, I'm not going to stay there. And I think for me, we do judo throws, but if I'm doing an Aikido throw, I don't stay underneath the person, okay? So sometimes, if you, like currently I'm staying underneath him because I'm just gonna lower him. I'm working on the Koshi to Koshi angle, okay? Which is what I think you should work on. But you have to be careful because a lot of people will go like this with this big steep stance, okay? And then they go here, and he's on that corner. Do you feel that, Tristan? And I can kind of muscle him around. It's not as clean to me as a technique because you're so wide now, as opposed to you're here. Then I have to put my koshi in the right place. But the better part of this is that as I do the technique, I don't have to stay here. So as I roll, I'm going to move it so that he falls more vertical, and there's less chance that he can pull me into the residual centrifugal energy. And if you're wide, you can't step out. But if you're in Shizentai, boom, you can, and he will fall more vertically, less centrifugally, and he can't counter you, okay? We'll go on. So as he comes around to Ushiro, anywhere that you can get your hips in that position, you have the throw. Now this is a much harder ukemi, so I'm going to let go. And he can grab wherever, okay? But you can see it's exactly the same. Grab me with this. I'm loading those hips. He's coming around. Boom, and it's right there, okay? And the same thing, you can move under him as you're doing this. And because, whoop, boom, this way. And you would pass under him. This. Boom, boom. Okay. So it's a kind of vicious fall because he can't grab me unless I let him grab me. And then when you apply my version where I'm going under him, he's pretty much falling 100% at that point, okay? So a safe way to do the technique is gonna turn it into exactly the first technique that we did, okay? So I'll give you reference points, okay? So he's gonna come around, all right. And I go here, and he's gonna let go of the outside hand, and now he grabs there, okay? And so you would pass under him, this hand will go here and hit the legs as you do everything, okay? So boom, you can hold him up. You do that side again, boom. From here, as I take his hand, he just goes, follow it. I would just go with it off, okay? Doesn't matter. If you're more comfortable as you go earlier, go underneath. doesn't matter. Okay?